Although I have seen a smattering of Bill's photographs randomly published in the South Shields Gazette, most of his extensive collection remains unseen, and indeed he has lots of negatives still to be developed. Bill's photographs are a major accomplishment and need to be shared with the people of the town, so that they are able to derive the same pleasure from them that Bill does. They are part of our heritage and a valuable part of local history. I was delighted when Bill agreed to combine his efforts with mine to produce a DVD containing 100 of his photographs from the Leagate area, which he photographed in the 1950s and 60s. Not only does Bill have the photographs, he also has a remarkable amount of knowledge about his hometown, and in particular about the time and places where his photographs were taken. Many thanks and appreciation go to my sister Jackie Wales, who dealt with the technical process of producing the DVD. I think you will agree with us that the end result is something very special, and I hope that this is only the beginning and there will be many more of Bill's photographs published for the public's enjoyment.
I got interested in photography in the late 40s. I was about 9 years old. My father was into photography and I would go along with him. He taught me everything I know. At that time, my father was doing all his own development and printing. It was an expensive business, especially considering he had a family of 9 to fend for. But he felt very strongly that the history of the town should be covered. He wanted to capture everyday life. I followed in my father's footsteps, and it was brought me a lot of pleasure. I hope our photos will bring pleasure to others.
This first photo shows Allen's department store in 1954, with its Adelaide Street extension completed. Moving ahead to 1958, at the left of the photo we can see work being carried out to Allen's department store at the rear of the building in Western Approach Road. This new Western Approach Road ran from Station Road to Leagate Lane and was open to traffic on the 14th of April 1958, when in fact this photo was taken. The following photo shows Allen's main building before its extension work in 1951. Another view of Allen's, again in 1951. The view in the distance shows Victoria Road before the building of the Leagate Flats, which would obscure the scene. 1951. This photo shows a branch of Allen's at its junction with Leagate Lane and John Williamson Street. It has been said that Allen's had a tunnel running under the road from its main premises in Leagate Lane to its branch directly over the road, which we are looking at now. The year is 1951 and we are looking down Leagate Lane from Chai. Thomas Curry the stonemason's premises are on the right of the photo, situated just before Leagate School. The metro station now stands in the foreground of the photo and consequently blocks the old view. The next two photos are taken in 1954 and show the entrance to the Vets Club on Leagate Lane. Notice the poster advertisements. The second photo gives us an excellent close-up shot. This photo dates from 1951 and shows the boundary wall of Trinity House Social Centre. Today, in 2011, next door to Trinity House stands the Quick Fit Garage. Across the road we can just glimpse the entrance to Dixon Street. Notice the Morris 1000 creeping into the photo. A splendid photo of Dixon Street at its junction with Leagate Lane. It is directly over the road to Trinity House. What a superb shot of the Leagate Garage sign. 1956. Looking down Leagate Lane, spot the church on the right of the photo, which was the Leagate Tabernacle and stood between Bedford Street and Dixon Street. 1951. Looking along Bedford Street we can spy the Old Mill public house, which stood in Hardwicke Street. Hanson's Fish and Chip Shop, remembered by many, at its junction with Alice Street and Legate Lane. This photo includes a lovely and rare shot of Metcalfe's The Wallpaper Shop. The date is 1952. This photo shows the back lane to Campbell Street. The overalls the young lady is wearing tells us she is from the nearby Eskimo slipper factory. The year is 1951. We are treated to a lovely side shot of Moore's Stores. We are looking up Legate Lane towards Chai. 1951, and we can see Smith's the furniture shop at the top of Frederick Street. It had an excellent reputation in the town. A mesh of trolley wires are overhead. Trolleybuses ceased running in the town on the 29th of April 1964. Smith's just managing to sneak into the frame. Look at the two men with their hand cart. I wouldn't be surprised if they were on their way to Hanratty's. We can just see the gents' toilets in the back lane. They are still there today in 2011, although they are no longer in use. Smith's shop premises now trades as a post office. The year is now 1958. Notice the beautiful Bedford van in the back lane. It belonged to Holland's Fruit and Veg shop, seen here on the corner. 1951, Adelaide Street with the Benton pub on the corner. Lawrenson's the butcher's, seen here, was later taken over by Allen's department store for its extension. The door just next to Lawrence's was the upstairs entrance to the Tivoli Cinema. It's 1956. On the right-hand side is Legate Terrace, which ran from Bedford Street to Princess Street. The street entrance at the fore of the photo is the opening to Alice Street. A lovely photo of an old Allen's delivery van parked in Princess Street. The row of shops and bus stop are part of Legate Terrace. 1951. Seen here is Dawson's Chemist, which stood for many years and was a landmark. Look at the great view all the way down Old Green Street's back lane, complete with three men hugging the corner. The group to the right includes Bill's future mother and sister-in-law. And the young lad leaning on the lamppost isn't George Formby, it's Bill's nephew. The next two photos from the same year show Martin's Bank. In 1961, the bank was demolished and new premises were built. The new bank premises still stand today in 2011, but the bank has not traded for many years. The year is 1952, and we've crossed over Legate Lane, past the Adam and Eve pub. In the fore of the photo, we can just see a part of the Zion Hall. The top of Campbell Street at High Shields. The pub is the Northumberland Arms. Part of the Zion Hall can be seen in the background. Still at High Shields End in 1951. We can see the High Station Hotel at its junction with Eldon Street and Legate. Bill's Granda Clavery taking a stroll down towards High Shields in 1951. He was a Frenchman and came to England for work. He met his wife, who fared from Northumberland and settled in South Shields. 1985. What an amazing and rare photo of Hanratty's. It is situated at the bottom of Havelock Street, which ends at the junction of H.S. Edwards Street. A 1987 photo of Swainston's, just before its closure. Swainston stood opposite the Adam and Eve pub, and its old shop premises are still there today in 2011. The year has changed to 1951, showing the Winter Gardens pub next door to Swainston's sweet shop. Continuing our journey down Legate Lane at High Shields End, the year is 1954. and we are treated to a brilliant photo of what used to be the old reading rooms upstairs and a police station downstairs. Later, in 1961, the police station was taken over and used as a mosque. The present-day Unionist Club stands on this site. Jumping ahead to 1967, the next two photos show members of the Arab community in Leggett High Shields. Still at High Shields Leggett, the year is 1951, and we are at the corner of Bowman Street, which ran down to Victoria Road. 1951, Regent Street, which runs parallel with Bowman Street. A moody view of Plessey's factory in 1968, showing its new extension at the junction of Eldon Street and Reed Street. Plessey's took over from Rank Bush in 1966. The creation of many jobs ensued, and they had a workforce of over 2,000. Here we are in 1967, two factory girls on their way back to Plessey's. Notice the Shah Jahan, a forerunner for curry restaurants in the town. Looking across from Plessey's factory, still in 1967, to local shops at High Shields. 1951, at the north side of High Shields, showing the road leading up to High Shields Station. Notice the public toilets on the right-hand side. 1951, standing at Commercial Road looking towards the High Shields Bridge, which carried the electric trains from South Shields to Newcastle. Notice the advertisement for Westoe Breweries on the bridge. High Shields Bridge again in 1951. Under the bridge is a notice board showing rail travel times. The back lane at the fore of the photo ran down to Hanratty's. One of the many shops in Cuthbert Street. Cuthbert Street ran from Victoria Road to Claypath Lane, ending at the Lord Clyde pub, which still stands today in 2011. 1955. The fruit shop shown here marks the end of Green Street and the beginning of Cuthbert Street. The Duke of York pub in Cuthbert Street, looking prosperous and well cared for. 1955. Scriven's Garage in Cuthbert Street, at its junction with George Street. In the background you can see Wilson Street. 1958. The Kit Kat Bar on Cuthbert Street, at its junction with Victoria Road. Bill can remember a lady called Mina serving in the cafe. It was popular with young people in those days. What a busy place Cuthbert Street was. Here we can see Joseph Armstrong's leather shop, with its quirky horse's head with a missing ear. 1955. Another of Cuthbert Street's businesses, where a certain Mrs. Margaret Wanless worked at that time. 1958. In the centre of Cuthbert Street, Moffat's Tobacconists and Sweet Shop, which also had a barber's in the rear of the property. Here we are in Claypath Lane at the bottom of Cuthbert Street. The large building next to the Lord Clyde pub was used as a mosque for a time, until it was demolished in October 1961. 1956 at the junction of Cuthbert Street and Adelaide Street, showing a clear photo of the Bath Hotel. In the background is the Pavilion Cinema. Jumping ahead to 1959 in the same area as the last photo, we see the well-loved Piv, which was demolished in 1961. People queuing at this little cafe on South Eldon Street and Bertram Street corner. South Eldon Street showing the railway bridge which ran from South Shields to Newcastle. 1951 at the junction of Eldon Street and Bertram Street. Notice the butcher boy's bike complete with basket. The year is 1951 and we are looking down to H.S. Edwards Street from the junction of Eldon Street and Barnes Road. 1951, South Eldon Street with its junction at Temple Street West. The flat above the shop in the middle of the block was Bill's wife's family home. 1951, South Palmerston Street at its junction with Gilbert Street. Gilbert Street ran from Alice Street to South Eldon Street. 1957, Orange Street, which ran from Bedford Street to Princess Street at the back of Legate Terrace. It was swallowed up by the building of the new Legate Flats in 1958. Bertram Street in 1951, a shop on every corner. The street ran from Egglesfield Road to Smith Street. More photos of Bertram Street, all in 1951. A number of factories set up shop in the Legate area. Here we see a view of John Collier's in 1971 on Western Approach. The factory closed in 1977. Mary Harris Clothing Factory, seen here in 1966, was based in Eldon Street, having moved from their original factory in John Clay Street, and they closed down on Friday the 10th of April 1998. The following photo shows the Eskimo Slipper Factory in Taylor Street. The date is 1951. Fancy a pub crawl after all that hard work? Let's start at the Turf Hotel in Green Street. The year is 1962. Moving on to the nearby Phoenix, still in 1962. How about the Neville pub on the corner of Eldon Street and Reed Street, 1957. We're still going strong, just popping into the Eldon Arms on Eldon Street. The year is 1951. And to finish off, let's take a saunter up to the Garden Gate in Havelock Street, 1958. This photo shows South Frederick Street at its junction with Gilbert Street. The year is 1961. South Frederick Street and Bertram Street, shown here in 19